folks, if you'll just gather around a little closer now. Come right in a little closer. That's it. That's fine, folks.
All right, let's go, because you know what I came in to do.
I don't get paid for overtime. I'm here to fight.
So Simon Jordan called Eddie Hearn a coward because he didn't appreciate the way Eddie handled the Conor Benn situation when he got popped. So Eddie, getting a bit pissed with Simon, persistently taking digs at Eddie. He offered him to have a boxing match for charity. Simon declined on that. Then spoke about Eddie Hearn's team at Matchroom, who were also trying to get at him, in his own words, and called them the refugees of the Wizard of Oz. I'm guessing Eddie's the wizard and they're refugees. I don't know what underlying meaning there was to that. But Eddie Hearn, he replied and said,
I thought it was quite racist, in all honesty.
258's Ramla Ali, she said, I'm all in for the debate in sport between at Eddie and Talk Sport, but Simon Jordan has no understanding of what refugees go through daily. Trust me. He's welcome to join me on a trip with at UNICEF UK to better understand who he's referring to by using that kind of language. Now, I've never been a fan of Simon Jordan, even when he was just exclusively covering football for the most part. I thought he was a bit condescending when he was talking to Robbie from AFTV. And because, you know, I used to play Robbie's music and I actually know him, I've been on his radio station, maybe I could be a bit biased, maybe. But even before that, I was never keen. And I know a lot of people are going to use this to say he's racist, and I'm not going to say he's not. And I'm not going to say he is either. What is shocking is the childish-like, lame efforts he has to take to draw attention to himself, to remain relevant. The lack of talent. Now, if he was throwing all these insults, refugee or whatever he's saying, coward, and he had some charisma about it, it would be okay, but he just lacks talent as far as I'm concerned. That's what's shocking to me, the lack of talent, the lack of knowledge on football, boxing, but maybe some people like it. And if that's the case, they should keep him on. I would never advocate for him to lose his job. That's one thing about me. I would never do that. I would never do that. It's funny there's no backlash though. No one's pulled him up on it at all, not the radio station, none of the listeners or casual or hardcore fans. But the Anthony Joshua Black Lives Matter speech just went on for days, but, you know, put it under the carpet, you know what I mean? Because basically, we like that language, we don't like refugees. And then the bombshell dropped that in response to a fan asking if he's going to get into boxing promotion or not, the answer is likely. He's not going to hurry, it's not a race. He's spending time making sure that he understands the boxing world and that he aligns himself with the right people. He'll either buy into somebody's business, invest into somebody's business, or start his own. The likelihood he will be involved in someone else's business, whether that means he goes in as the chairman of a business, or whether it means he goes in as a funder and buys someone's equity. Yes, it's a possibility. So on Boxing Social, where I got this article, it's saying it's a safe bet that he won't be going with Eddie due to the relationship, which is quite turbulent. They're also saying it would be difficult to imagine how Jordan would get on with Queensbury's Frank Warren. Yeah, the ego's there. Not sure. So they're saying maybe Ben Shalom could bring the former businessman onto boxers' books. I don't think the Salons will want Simon Jordan on board, you know, or Wasserman. They've been doing it for a long time. Well, let's hope he's a better industry mogul than boxing pundit, because, in my opinion, he doesn't have the skills. It's not my cup of tea anyway. Peter McDonough was saying, Simon Jordan asked the right questions and we're getting real animated. He had that 1 minute when he grilled Jose Sullivan or Mauricio Sullivan, and that was it. After that and before that, all bullcrap, as far as I'm concerned. And here's the thing, as a man, if I call another man a coward and he responds by offering me 3 rounds in a boxing ring and I decline it, who's the real coward? Now, he can flip it and try to say he meant cowardly as he won't face the press. No. Amongst us as men, the first definition we're going to take that as, you calling another man coward, is will you stand up and fight if I step to you? CompuBox registered Efren Hinojosa's 1,507 punches, the most ever thrown in a lightweight bout recorded. Well, at least recorded with CompuBox recording the punches. This was against Lamar Murphy in 2001. apparently William Zepeda, the new kid on the block, threw an astonishing 1,536 punches, with a 5.5-inch reach advantage over Jojo Diaz. He established his jab to stop Diaz from getting too close. Zepeda outthrew Jojo 787 to 279 and landed 157 to 49 jabs, whilst throwing over double the number of power punches, 749 as opposed to Diaz's 328. The most punches Diaz threw in any round was 83, while the lowest that Zepeda threw in any round was 107. In round 3, Zepeda threw 151 punches, almost a quarter of Diaz's total for the entire fight, 607. The scorecards were predictably lopsided, 119-109 twice, 118-10. And this is a career best win for Zepeda, now 27-0 as a professional. And he's quickly becoming one of the most exciting fighters in the sport. He has 23 KOs out of the 27 wins, no losses, no draws. And the last 2 fights have went the distance. I saw the Alvarado fight, and he had some issues with Alvarado, but it was action-packed. Action-packed. Zepeda is very fit. He's very strong. Despite the statistics, he's not a Jimmy Poole type puncher at lightweight or a Duran, but he's very fit, very strong, very disciplined. Not defensively the greatest fighter either, but he's going to be very hard to beat. Very hard to beat. And I'm glad that fighters like Zepeda are coming through, because the division needs to be shaken up. Now, it looks like Tank and Ryan is falling through, and a lot of people are saying it's the PBC's fault, and I'm kind of leaning towards that as well. But Ryan has screwed up title shots already. He has played around. He has spoke about himself like he was more important than the lightweight division, more important than Devin's belt, even though he doesn't have a strap, right? And it's good to have guys like Zepeda who don't talk as much nonsense as Ryan, or don't have some idiot like Ellaby manage him like Tank. And we're going to need fighters like this and Jojo Diaz to stop the bullshit. Jojo will fight anybody. He's 29 years of age. His last 4 opponents haven't been no joke. Rakimov, he fights for that super featherweight title tomorrow after drawing with Jojo in 2021. He fought Javier Fortuna at the weight that Fortuna is the most comfortable at. Not like Ryan, who fought him at 140. I know Fortuna signed a contract, and that's his issue, but it still needs to be pointed out. He fought Devin Haney last year for that WBC title after Ryan pulled out of a fight with Jojo, and before that pulled out of the fight with Devin Haney. So he just wants to fight the best. He said it on several occasions. I'm not here to mess about. I want to fight the best. Obviously, he wants to get paid. And to get paid, he's prepared to fight the best. But when you fight the best, this is what happens to your record. You get losses. But these bunch of fans in this era are a bunch of and they won't acknowledge that the reason he's collecting L's and majority draws is because he's pushing himself to fight tough opposition. But they're just going to look at the losses and start calling him a bum and journeyman and all types of stupid shit, when he should get more credit for taking on tough competition. And while Jojo blocked a lot of Zepeda's shots, he did get lumped up in there, but Jojo's got a very good chin, and he had no issue getting through the 12 rounds, none at all. Zepeda got caught with a great right hand, I believe in the 6th round, but it shook him for a couple of seconds, and he was back on it again. He's as fit as anything, and he's a problem for anyone, including Haney, including Lomachenko, Tank, Ryan, and any of them. And he's closing in on that title shot. I don't know if Devin will be around when it's Zepeda's time to get a title shot. I don't know. But I want to big up both of them because they're willing to put the work in and not complain about fighting this guy and I'm the A side and I'm this, that. And hopefully Golden Boy can steer Zepeda into the right fights. And hopefully Golden Boy can still get Jojo meaningful fights because he deserves them. It was a very good fight to watch. Jojo contributed as well. Even though the statistics show he didn't throw a lot of punches, he did land some very good shots, and it was still an entertaining bout to watch. That elbow punch challenge on the bag is getting very popular, and they've got one rigged up at Abu Dhabi. Buatsi just edged out Coogan. I think Buatsi got 600 second go around. Coogan got quite a high score. Eddie hit 900 plus, you know. Maybe that's why Simon Jordan was reluctant to take the charity boxing fight. Leonard Ellerby better watch out as well. Maybe the bags are rigged because they got Matrim on them, so maybe Eddie got it rigged to make himself look good, or maybe he's got some Thomas Hearns in that hand there. I mean, Eddie the Hitman Hearns. But yeah, Buatsi was being very honest. It's titled Buatsi Brutally Honest on Anthony Yarde Bivol versus Ramirez. And with Beterbiev holding 3 of the straps in the weight class, he's going to be looking to fight Canelo next if he gets through Anthony Yarde. And that leaves 1 belt left, and that's Bivol's WBA belt. He takes on Ramirez tomorrow, and the winner of that, more than likely, is going to be looking at a Canelo fight. And I doubt the sanctioning bodies are going to be ordering the likes of Callum Smith, ranked number 1 with the WBC, or Buatsi, ranked number 2, but will move up to number 1 because Ramirez is getting his shot. I doubt they're going to be ordering mandatories for them guys just yet, not with Canelo potentially in the mix at 175. And Buatsi prioritized in the interview when the question came up, what's more important, the title shots or the big fights? It's the big money fights, really, because you can't wait around for title shots. How long have I been saying this? You can't just do that. There's big money fights out there. So Matrim may have to revisit an in-house fight between Callum Smith and Buatsi. Perhaps if Yarde loses and is not humbled, a Yarde-Buatsi fight might still be in play. Maybe Yarde, Callum Smith, maybe Yarde, Danaziz, Buatsi, Callum Smith, mix it up, throw Callum Johnson in there. And that's what might have to happen next year, because it's congested up there with 3 straps tied up. That's just the reality. The good thing for that situation for the UK is the promoters seem to be getting it together with cross-promotion events. But we'll see how everything plays out next year. It's like Danaziz versus Callum Smith. It's very good. Danaziz would give Callum a lot of problems, but Dan could always be 1 shot away from getting put to sleep. It's a good fight. There's some good fights there. It's all dependent on what Canelo wants to do next. Is he going to stay at 168? Zach Parker and John Ryder are going to have a say in it if he stays at 168. And Eddie will be pushing for Ryder, and Frank Warren will be pushing for Zach Parker. Everybody's after Canelo, 168, 175. I think that's why, well, is it Goodfellas Sports? He reasoned that the PBC made Benavidez and Caleb Plant because they wanted to deflect away from a horrible week from them. You know what I mean? Like everybody, not everybody, a lot of people are laying the burden of doubt on their doorstep for why Crawford and Spence fell apart. Why it took so long for them to put a deal together, and, you know, Black Primer stepped in and Crawford's gone elsewhere. Is that to deflect? Or are they trying to put themselves in a better position this time around? Because Canelo said, why don't some of the PBC super middleweights fight each other? And they're doing that now. You see, Benavidez, especially in these times, being unbeaten and being Mexican doesn't harm his chances either. If he gets a spectacular result over Plant, and we've already seen the Plant-Canelo fight, nobody's going to be really pushing for that. But Benavidez, a new opponent, a good win over Caleb Plant, if he can do it earlier than what Canelo did, in more impressive style, he puts himself in position as well. All Mexican showdown. And that's what the PBC have been lacking. They've been lacking in that, like, urgency to market the fighter so he can get these fights. The only reason they got Caleb the Canelo fight is because they held the IBF strap hostage at 168. But this time they're actually putting in work to develop David Benavidez. He needs this fight. He needs this fight. They also need to get Jamal Charlo off his ass as well. Because when you look at it, right, at 168 and 175, the only thing the PBC have is David Morrell with that baby belt, regular strap or whatever it is with the WBA. That's all they have. So maybe a lot of the in-house fights we've been calling for, they may have to make them now. Because they don't have much in the way of bargaining chips over there right now. There ain't no more belts to hold hostage or anything. There's potentially a lot of money around 168 and 175 if the fights are getting made. And they would have to extend themselves from just in-house fights like Benavidez and Plant and do cross promotions as well. Or the only thing I can see is they fold. And Benavidez and Plant, most people are satisfied with that. It will be pay-per-view, but I don't think they should worry about the numbers. I know they've got to maybe absorb the loss financially, but make it a good promotion, promote it, good event, good fight, and then you can build off that.
It's a duck.
So, October the 3rd, boxing scene, USYK's manager, Aegis Klimas, said Deontay Wilder is a real option for USYK's next fight. Wilder replied on October the 13th and said, hopefully, USYK is a man of his word. We'll see what happens, contingent of him beating Robert Helenius. And obviously, he knocked Helenius out in one. Ball in USYK's court. October the 25th, USYK has told Deontay Wilder that he will face him after he has taken on Tyson Fury. Well, that's a little different from his next fight, isn't it? It's a duck. But that's enough from me. It's over to you. If you're a USYK fanboy, you tell me how it's not a duck. Go on, explain it.
It's a duck.
Yeah, Live J, 5. Yeah. This one crazy, my man. They only want what they can't have. Hey, who they can be. Fell at plan A, never made plan B. They don't understand me because I stand for something. They can't stand me. Quick to say, man, he frontin', can't see past my past. I survived a crash. I never cried, I laugh. I'm qualified to brag. I decided I'ma switch that shit up. Eat right, do sit up, say a prayer when I get up. Every night another block get hit up. Every day another nigga quit and decide not to get up. Been down for too long, man, I got to get up. Can't do it all at once, gotta chop the shit up. Take it little by little, cause even Malcolm Little took it piece by piece. Then he understood peace was a piece of the plan. But you still need a piece to make the beast understand. Rest in peace to the man. Damn, what a mind, but who the Malcolm of all time? That voice of reason, who gon' help us with our climb? We worry about car bombs, terror, skyjacking. We all for our grind. These niggas fly rapping without hesitation. I take the gang by storm. Rain on them, flood the block till I drain my pen. Was in the pen, used to scribe with a pencil and work on my defense, but what's behind that fence still? System is suffocating, choking the life out my body every day. I be hoping tonight ain't my last, trying to pass what they predicted me to. I ain't immune to the temptation to get to me too. Should I pursue a lot of dough like my life depends on a pair of car keys that could ignite the Benz? Lost friends over the years who fell short of their dreams. Took bullets to the chest and supported their team. So many fiends running around like they barely living. Sometimes I wonder if God even